The Biodiversity Index is an online interactive tool developed by the University of Northampton. It enables any organisation to assess the biodiversity of their site without any prior knowledge of the science of biodiversity. Biodiversity is a contraction of two existing words, biological and diversity. It really refers to the variety of life around us, all of the plants and animals and fungi and bacteria, and the habitats that they're part of, the communities and ecosystems. And it's incredibly important to us. The recent UK National Ecosystem Report estimated that biodiversity is worth about £30 billion per year to the British economy through things like pollination of crops and carbon storage and ecotourism. So you can see that biodiversity is really fundamental to the way in which our society functions and to our ongoing prosperity.
The idea behind the Biodiversity Index came about from the realisation that as a university, although we had academic members of staff whose specialisms are biodiversity and ecology, as an infrastructure services team, we actually didn't have any knowledge of biodiversity. In the past, we'd asked consultants to come on site and to create biodiversity surveys and to undertake those. And we'd got the reports from those, but they didn't really give us any useful hands-on information for ourselves. So we decided to collaborate with our academic colleagues and to create the Biodiversity Index. So the index was initially funded by the Higher Education Funding Council for England and the university, and together we created the index so that academic members of staff and estates colleagues, we could actually go and do the survey work. We could actually get outside and see what was on our site, see what was on our estates, and understand the biodiversity that we actually have. And from that, we would get a report and we'd get a score, and we'd be able to use those to take our biodiversity forward in terms of planning and in terms of actual hands-on, on-the-ground interactions.
When we were developing the Biodiversity Index, one of the challenges that we faced was translating the science that we understand about biodiversity into a tool that could be used by just about anyone. And so we decided to use two fundamental principles related to biodiversity. The first principle is that the greater the number of different types of plants and the greater the structural diversity of those plants, the more other species you'll have within an area. And the second principle was that the bigger the area of plants that you have, the more species of animals and fungi and other organisms that you're likely to find in that area. And by combining those two principles together, hopefully we've developed a biodiversity index which can be used as a tool for any kind of organisation.
The Biodiversity Index is a web-based tool. Here we have the front page of the website. You just need to sign up to it, and once you've done that, you can log in. Once you've logged in, you'll be able to get started. If you click on the Getting Started button at the top, it gives you lots of information about what you need to do. So first of all, there's an instruction video for you to watch. Secondly, a habitat survey form for you to download so that you can actually go out and do the habitat surveys. There's a link to a mapping software which will enable you to map your areas and to work out the size of your different habitats. And then finally, at the bottom, detailed instructions. If you click on that, you will get detailed instructions about what you have to do. So there's 5 points. First of all, get to know your site and its habitats. So actually get out there and go and have a walk around your site and find out what types of habitats you've got out there. On the habitat survey form, it lists 21 different types of habitat that you should be looking for. Secondly, you'll then actually undertake the surveys. So the survey is split into two sections. First, you're looking at a vegetation structure count. That is, you're looking at the types of vegetation that you have in your habitats. And secondly, you're also looking at the total number of different types of leaf shape. That's the two elements of the survey. Then you should look at a mapping software so that you can work out the areas of each of your habitats. And when you've done that, you then feed all that information back into the computer again. And the fifth point is to actually create your report, your final report, which the website will do for you. So once you've actually created and undertaken your survey, you come back onto the computer again, and as we have here, you can create a report. So here we've got an Avenue Campus and a Park Campus report. For each of these, you will then enter the information for each habitat. So for example, here you can see that we've got 12 different habitats, and you can then enter the data for each habitat. Here we already have it filled in, but you're looking for the vegetation structure information and the leaf shape information. Once you put that in, you save that particular habitat area, and then you save all the other habitat areas for that site. And once that is done, click on the Continue to Results button. This will then allow the computer and the website to use its scientific algorithm to calculate your results. So here we have it, the results for Avenue Campus. We can see here that each of the different habitat types has information. So for example, this is saying that 37% of this site is made up of woods and wood-like parks. And other percentages here, we can scroll across. 5% hedges and shrubbery, 1% thinning or incomplete hedge, etc. 21 different types of habitats. If you then want further information about each habitat type, click on the little information button underneath, and that will give you further detailed breakdown for each of the habitat types. And it will also show you how to improve the biodiversity of each of those habitat types. Finally, if you scroll over to the far right-hand side of the screen, you will actually find your index score. So this is a comparative score to show the diversity of plant life on your site. Here, 145. And finally, you've got further buttons on this side. You can click to create a full report for your site. So if you create a report, you'll find all the information about your survey in this report, and you can use it to start to create your biodiversity action plan.
The score from the Biodiversity Index calculation is a relative score, and it's derived from your surveys outside and the mapping. The score is a benchmark if you've used it for the first time, and you can use that score to make measures and plans to improve biodiversity. There are many ways you can improve biodiversity on your site, and that can include increasing your habitat size or creating new ones. Estate managers can get lots of ideas from the website, and the tool gives you links to wildlife organisations such as the RSPB and the Wildlife Trust, and you can contact them for more information. The index was first released to the educational sector, and many university schools and colleges have already registered to use the website. But we think that the index is a really powerful tool for commercial organisations too. As a company, you can demonstrate that you're improving biodiversity on your land, you can get your employees engaged in conservation activities, and you can also provide evidence for your corporate reporting.
Biodiversity matters. It's important to society, it's important to us as individuals. And by using the Biodiversity Index, your organisation can make a contribution to conserving that biodiversity for future generations. You can find more details about how to engage with the Biodiversity Index by visiting the website. www.biodiversityindex.org